And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. It's me, Hug. All right, cool. Got that over with. I don't know, awkward moment, right? Okay. We are going to be dealing with part 15 of the 24-part series of Ann LeFlore on trusts. Ta-da! 15's here. Hopefully we can do 16 and 17 today. We're going to try to do that and get that knocked out of the park. So let me get the administrative stuff out of the way. fearlessfloydshow.com. Come check me out. Come enroll in our class coming up on the 22nd. Fearless Floyd Show on Telegram, Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Telegram. If you'd like to give a donation, I'm on PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. Everything is the Fearless Floyd Show. So easy, right? Okay. And with that, we're going to dive into part 15 and LeFlore on trust, part 15 of 24. We're trying to get this wrapped up for you guys and get it out there so we can move on and get to the next level. And that's Ann telling me she is ready. So if you like me, you like the video, you like my content, like my channel, like my name, like my logo, whatever, come on, give me a thumbs up, guys. That tells everybody else this is a good video. And if y'all have similar tastes and likes, it'll notify them that, hey, there's a video out here. Maybe you should look at it. That's what the like does. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell if you want to know when I put out new videos. Share this video, leave a comment below, the Fearless Floyd Show at yahoo.com if you want to email me. But easiest way, get on Telegram. Tell everybody, Telegram. That's such a, it could be better. It's getting better. They update it consistently, I would say. But anyway, let's move on. Ann LeFlore on trust coming up. Ann LeFlore, give me 1 second and I'll be right back with Ann LeFlore. And there she is, everybody.
Hey guys, I thought I'd make Floyd feel at home today. Love my little hat.
Cowboy up.
Oh. Yeah, we're on number 15. 9 more to go after today.
Yes, we are.
Getting them down.
Here we go. Trust, part 15. With Ann LeFlore, doing business through your trust. Panel 2. Doing business through trusts. The revocable or express trust is not technically a business trust, but within the establishment of the terms of the trust, it does not limit us from doing business through our trusts. You will need to obtain a franchise or a business license to be able to operate a business through the trust. In this type of trust, you can operate a business, dispose of a business, acquire a business, or even contract under a limited liability system and become a taxable entity.
Guess what, guys? That's what they've been doing to us for years. All these businesses out there, that's how they run everything, is through express trust, because they're easy to dispose of, they're easy to close out, and they're easy to manipulate and get things done through it. So an express trust, believe it or not, is like really one of the, strongest trusts there is out there. It has so many benefits. It's amazing.
All right, panel 3. Most states do not stop you from conducting a particular kind of business through your trust. However, there could be certain jurisdictions in a public policy that can limit you from doing business through your trust. If you wish to operate a business through the trust, there is a due notice rule and a duty upon the trustee under equity. This normally is a 2-part rule that governs trust and when operating a business through your trust.
Okay, so my advice is, you guys, if you want to have a small business running through your trust and it's an express trust, check with your states to make sure what their limitations are and what their rules are. You also will probably have to check with the tax service to see if you have to be taxable. There are some businesses that you can run through your trust that can avoid some taxes. Yeah. So just make sure you take into consideration all of this when you're setting up your trust.
There you go. Panel 4, Rule 1. It is your responsibility to distinguish and represent the nature of the trust to the party you are doing business with. This is important when you are using your trust to form a business contract. You are obligated to make a full disclosure to the party you are contracting with. You will add your trust information on all letterheads, business cards, checks, bills, and order blanks, papers, etc., so as to prevent any claims of lack of disclosure from arising in the future.
Okay, this is important. They don't do that for us, you guys. So like when you go into certain enterprises and you sign these contracts, they're not disclosing these are trusts. So this is where we can start getting at them, understanding how they create these express trusts through these contracts and how they sucker us into these trusts. And we have no idea that we are part of the trust because we signed the contract. So this is a really good understanding how we can start going after these businesses that are literally creating trust in our name.
That won't go over. All right, panel 5. Next to your trust name, you should add trust organization or organized under the declaration of trust. Keep in mind that a trustee must not disclose every fact regarding the trust, its declaration, and its affairs. The first part of the due notice requirement can be sufficiently accomplished simply by employing the designations, quote, irrevocable express trust organization, unquote, or, quote, express trust organization, unquote, or, quote, trust organization, unquote, or, quote, organized under declaration of trust, unquote, beneath or next to the trust's name. It must not be excessively revealed about the trust. The trustee has the duty to protect the privacy of the trust, but it also must be misleading. The trustee has a duty not to compromise the integrity of the trust. He is in no way prohibited from exercising the utmost shrewdness.
Okay, keep in mind, we do not have to disclose anything that is in the body corpus of our trust. But if we want to use our trust to do business, we at least have to identify our trust name or use it in our letterheads like I was talking about earlier. So it's important that when you're sending letters or you're doing business, that you incorporate one of these titles into the trust title so that people have the understanding that you're working through a trust. Now, if they ask you what's in the trust, you do not disclose it. There's only certain things that anybody has to know about the trust, and those come in the certifications of the trust. Those are the only thing we have to give anybody we're doing business with, is our certifications of our trust.
That's it. That's the only document you need to show anyone regarding your trust. Doesn't matter who it is. It's the only thing that they'll ever be. You're required by law to show. So yeah, anybody who asks you for anything else, they're just digging in your affairs. All right, panel 6. Step 2, the trustee must stipulate in plain and simple language that is contained in all written contract and obligations that the trust is only liable for its obligations and that neither the trustee nor the interest holder are to be held personally liable in the contract. As the trustee of the trust, you must designate your title either under or immediately next to your name. The trustee must obtain a mailing address for the trust.
Okay, so this is really important, guys. When we're contracting with somebody and we're writing a contract, these stipulations must be in that contract, that the trustee, because maybe it's not you as the trustee, maybe you want somebody else to be the trustee of this trust and they're helping you to do this business. and they're helping you to do this contract. So you have to make sure that you're going to protect them because they're working through the trust. And so we want to make sure that whoever we're doing business with is not going to come after our trustees.
Okay, I'm just going through here. We have a little grammar. All right, moving on to panel 7. The trustee is the principal holder of the trust property. Do not mix the trust affairs with your own affairs. As the trustee, this needs to be separated and kept completely separate from the trust. This means that the trust must have its own utilities in the name of the trust. You should always do this anyhow, even if you are not operating a trust business. No matter what, the trustee must maintain a strict separation for the trust identity and their own identity.
Okay, so we talked about, setting up trust. We talked about where the grantor is inside the trust. Now we're going to talk about how they're going to do business through the trust. So, for example, if you're running your business from your home, you need to literally have the home inside the trust as the trust res or the property of the trust. And then you're not going to put your name on the services of that home. You're going to literally get the companies to put the services of the home in the trust name. And then you're going to identify through the postal service and through your letterheads that this address is the business address of the trust. And if somebody goes to look it up, it's all registered that the electric service, the water service, the phone service, whatever service there is for your home or wherever you're living or wherever your trust is under the trust name. It's really important.
Yes, you can't have a utility account in your government name because more than likely they don't even put it in your real name. And you want to keep it separate. You don't want to mix them up, just like public and private. All right, moving on. Panel 8, how to limit liability and risk. In business contracts, the trustee's title is not sufficient to limit his liability or remove the risk from him and his own assets. The trustee must employ the proper language either within the terms of the contract or beneath the contract with his signature. His signatures need to be in the proper place where it is or will appear unambiguously.
Okay, that means when you're signing your contract, you have to have a line for your signature, and underneath the line, you have to identify yourself, name and who you are. So you can be the trustee, you can be the trustee absolute, or you will be the co-trustee. So it has to literally be there. When you're signing your name, you literally have to sign your name, comma, trustee, period. So nobody can add anything at the end of your name. It's really important. Not only that, but there is certain things that you might not want in your trust. There's certain assets that you might want to keep out in the public to do some public business with. Those assets cannot be mixed in with your daily trust business. You have to have a different accounting system and keep them completely separated. So don't bring in public funds or public funds into your private funds. Make sure you really do a good job about identifying this.
Definitely. I mean, really, you shouldn't, once you get your trust set up and you get it to where you believe you have the fundamentals mastered, you should start moving out of operating in the public anyway and just operate strictly through the trust. That's where you should be headed. Should be a goal anyway. Panel 9. We should consider adding the following language to the trust or the contracts we are dealing with. The property and funds of the trust organization only are liable for the contract obligations. The trustee is acting under the declaration of trust, and add the date of the trust that was established as the trust organization and the name of the trust. Name the person as the trustee, but do not name him personally. we can add in the contract that the contract is without recourse to the trustee. This will not make the trustee liable for the business dealings of the trust.
Okay, when I say don't name him personally, so when you're writing your contract, you would say something similar to the trustee will not be responsible or held responsible for, and then go on and explain it. You're not going to say that John Doe trustee will not be held responsible for, and then go on and name it. You don't put the person's name down in the contract. You only identify them as their position. You could say the trustee absolute, you could say the trustee, you could say the trustee and the co-trustee, or you could say the board of trustees. And that's all you can put down in the contract when you're writing up your contracts and identifying your contracts.
All right. Panel 10. No matter what we need to use the language, no matter what, we need to use the language so that the other person knows and understands that they are dealing with an express trust. It could also be necessary to cite the provision of the trust instrument, which limits the trustee liabilities. This is up to the trustee, and it is in their discretion if they choose not to or to include this in the business dealings of the trust. If a trustee contracting for the benefit of a trust wants to protect himself from individual liability on the contract, he must stipulate that he is not to be personally responsible, but that the other party is to look solely to the trust estate.
Okay, so basically what this is, trying to tell you guys is when we give out our certification of trust, there is certain things listed in our certification of trust. We could actually list those certain items in our contract also to ensure that people are not going to try to come after you in the public when you're actually working in the private. This protects you, and the only thing that they can come after would be the trust. And sometimes that's really hard to come after trust. Other times, depending on how you wrote the contract, it could be really easy to come after that trust. So just, I would do some research, and, like if you want to run your business through the trust, make sure that you've got this set up airtight. Otherwise, I would look at a different way to run a business.
Panel 11, banking. The trustee has the power to open a business checking account, a trust account, or even a financial account. However, the trustee must understand that the trust will be participating directly in the unincorporated interstate banking association with all its limited liabilities. As a trust, the trustee should open a non-interest-bearing checking account to run the trust by. This is the only type of a bank account a trust should really use. However, you can open other types of bank accounts to run the trust if you choose to do so.
Okay, the reason I say non-interest bearing is because we're not receiving benefits. Interest is a benefit from the public side. And that's how they get us. That's how they tax us, is through their benefits. So if we choose in our trust to run a interest-bearing checking account, we're leaving ourselves wide open. We haven't left the public sector. So we actually need, in all of our trust accounts or all of our trusts, to run non-interest bearing bank accounts. We don't want their interest. We don't want their benefits.
Okay. Okay, panel 12. By using a non-interest bearing account, the trust and the trustee will remain out of the tentacles of public policy. However, if the trustee intends to play within the two systems, public and private, the trustee should never contract for any credit cards. If the trust has already obtained a credit card, then it should be canceled. If you use a non-interest bearing checking account, you will avoid the privileges and immunities associated with the interest. You should always maintain the required balance at all times in your account.
Guys, we don't need a credit card. Do you know when you open up the non-interest bearing checking account, you guys can get the little banking debit card. 99% of the time, those little banking debit cards have Visa or MasterCard or something else on them. And they work for everything. You can still, get stuff online with them, use them through the trust and everything else. Like I said, we don't want their interest. We want to be out of their interest. And this way it avoids us from also paying interest. So if we're using our account, we're not going to be charged interest on our account.
Right. Clean up. Okay, panel 13. If you are doing business trust, if you are doing trust business, you should use the trust bank account only for depositing the checks and keeping track of the trust funds. If the trust is for business, you should never send or allow your trust checks to be sent across state lines. If you need to send money across state lines, then use a postal money order or a bank certified check to do so. It is a good idea to use a bonded or non-bonded agent to establish the account on behalf of the trustee. When a trust opens the bank account, you must provide the following.
Oh, yep. Next panel is the following.
Number 1, the original notarized letter of authorization or letter of introduction or a limited power of attorney, if being opened by an authorized representative. Is this 149 supposed to be there?
So. No, I think I got that in there by mistake.
That's fine. Number 2, a copy of the certificate of trust. Number 3, a copy of the trustee appointment. Number 4, a copy of the settler's acknowledgement of trust or letter of introduction introducing the trustee. There are usually 2 introduction or acknowledgement documents per trustee, one regarding his fiduciary powers specifically addressed to banking institutions, and one regarding his general power to establish all other accounts. Are there more than that?
No, I think that should do it. Okay, so basically, we're going to open up our bank accounts. We do have a letter introducing our trustee to the bank system. It's addressed direct to the bank. The trustee also has an affidavit for the bank where he literally outlines all of his responsibilities, the bank responsibilities, and what he will do with the banking system. And this also gives him the authority to open up the different banking accounts that he needs to use. So it's important to get all the paperwork together before you go into the bank, because a lot of people are making the mistake. They're walking into the bank saying, oh, I'm the grantor of this trust and I'm opening up the trust as the beneficiary. Banks are looking at them like, huh? You can't do that. But when you're opening up the account, you're opening it up as the beneficiary of the account. And see, that gives you the authority to do so, as long as you bring in the paperwork that allows you to do so.
Okay. Number 15, a copy of the first and signature pages of the Declaration of Trust. Note, the bank will almost always require evidence of a trust agreement, but the other documents may be sufficient depending on who you are dealing with. If you can open the account without providing these documents, or with providing only a few of the documents, great. Again, this is a non-interest bearing checking account, so scrutiny is not a priority. Accounts such as this have been downplayed by the banks via advertised interest rates, so most people would rather open accounts that appear to have the prospect of interest earnings and, only if necessary, to obtain an EIN, a copy of the filed IRS Form SS4.
Hey guys, there's a lot of banks out there that'll try to talk you into getting the interest, bearing accounts. You don't want that. So in our trust package that we're doing in our class, we've got all the documents for the bank. We've got the letters written. We've got also the trust certificates written. We've got all the necessary paperwork that banks will need, to open up your banking account. So just make sure that you get the right paperwork done before you go into the banking system, and understand exactly what you want when you're going into that banking system. And don't allow them to try to talk you into something that's in the private and the public when you want to stay in the private. Make sure you let them know you're opening a trust bank account in the private and you want a non-interest bearing account. Don't let them, do anything else. Then when you do the checks, you know what? You can put your name on it, and you can put trust, or you can put trustee. So make sure you sign it correctly also. If you're the trustee, you can put trustee, or you can put capital T, E, capital E, capital E. That's how banks identify trustees. TTEE.
There you go. All right, and here we are, panel 16, last but not least. In the event it becomes unavoidably necessary to the opening of a non-interest-bearing account, or if the trustee does see fit to obtain an interest-bearing or other financial account, then he or an agent must apply to the IRS for an employer identification EIN number for banking purposes. With an express trust and a non-interest-bearing checking account, it is easy to operate a business from our trust. You will need to obtain an EIN from the IRS for each trust you open. These types of trusts are pass-through trusts that allow you to work in the private and pass through to the public, do business with your trust.
Okay, guys, all trusts, when you're going into the bank, you do need an EIN. So be careful which EIN you're getting. There's a lot of confusion out there right now. Everybody's saying get a 98 EIN. No, this is not a foreign trust, guys. This is your pass-through trust. And it definitely, you can get a revocable trust EIN to use with the banking system. You can also get an irrevocable EIN for an irrevocable trust. And not only that, but if you do want a foreign trust, their 98 is for the foreign trust. But a lot of people are mixing up these trusts with foreign trusts. These are not foreign trusts. Foreign trusts have a, world all their own, and a way to set them up a whole lot differently than what we're working with right now.
That's the last panel. You have anything else to conclude with this?
No, guys, it's just, so easy to, get so confused when we're working with trust. There's a lot of people out there who are mixing up the public, private. They're trying to bring the public into the private. They're trying to, do charitable trusts and call them private trusts. No, charitable trusts are actually public trusts. They stay over there in the public. So no, you don't want to pull your charitable organization into a private trust. You don't want to do that because it doesn't work. So there is a lot of rules and regulations for what's going on. And when you listen to other people, sometimes you get confused. So one thing to do is do a lot of study, go on Floyd's Telegram channel, and there's so much information out there. Watch these videos, pay close attention to these videos. I'm really trying to lay it all out super simply and step by step, little segments at a time, so you can understand how these trusts work. It takes a lot of time to write them, guys. and it takes a lot of time to get the information out there. So it's important to pay close attention to them. And that's why they're here on YouTube, and they're free, and you can watch them as many times as you want.
Absolutely. Encourage all you guys, come join in the fun. That's where it's going. Okay. Do you want to do 16?
Yeah, let's close out this one and do 16.
Okay. Well, what about 17?
Hey, Floyd.
Mhm.